Welcome to Subject Baseball, where we talk all things baseball because the subject is baseball. I'm Marleigh, your host, and I know, it's been way too long. I bet half of you thought I'd disappeared, but do not fret, I have returned. If you keep up with my TikTok, you've seen that I haven't disappeared, so if you've missed me, go check that out. Link in the description. I stepped away because I got hit with a little bit of a burnout. I was working 2 jobs at one point, and then after 2 jobs, when that contract ended, I just didn't want to do anything else with my time but sleep and watch baseball games. And then so many baseball things were happening that I got overwhelmed thinking I had to explain to all of you guys all of the teeny tiny little details that make up... I'm sorry, a cat just walked into my room. I was pretty overwhelmed, but that's the exact opposite of what I wanted this online space to be. I wanted it to be the space where you can go because you know you won't feel overwhelmed and that you'll feel like everything is explained pretty easily to you. So I had to kind of check myself and reset myself before bringing you a new episode. But here we are. We're around the halfway mark of the season, with teams having played between 75 to 81 of their games of their season. Remember, they all started on different schedules and different days, so a few teams are farther ahead in their season than some other teams, and that's why there's such big of a range. As a present for you guys, and a bit of an apology for being away, I have a new segment that I'm calling Check the Chat, where if you guys send me an audio message or a DM or email or voicemail, I'll play it on the podcast. We'll talk about what you want to talk about. And we actually have 2 audio messages today. The first one we're going to listen to is an audio message from my friend Tony about the ABS system and umpires. Now, this was sent to me back in May, so please give a little grace if we've seen some of these wrinkles that he mentions get ironed out already, if the league has already figured out some of these little crinkles and they've handled it already. So here is Tony's audio. If you want to hear more opinions from Tony, you can check out his Campus Green episode that has already been uploaded. We talk a lot about the Yankees and the Red Sox because of the rivalry, but also his childhood, how he got into baseball, how he played baseball, all that stuff. But for now, here is Tony's audio message about the ABS system and umpires.
So, ABS is something that I feel is going to change the game of baseball now and for future generations to come. ABS is a good thing because it allows, some of the bad calls to be exposed, but I also can see this turning into an issue, and we are only about 12 games in, 13 games in, and we can already see that, teams are calling the challenge when it's a ball less than, a tenth of an inch outside of the zone that physically the human eye cannot pick up. I feel like, yes, it is a good thing, but I also feel sometimes, and a lot of times, the batters are getting entitled to calling the game for what they want as opposed to letting the umpire call the games. A lot of umpires have been showing up, some of the best guys who are accurate, and you can see calling a strike within, 0.1 of an inch below the zone. Like, the human eye can't see that 0.1 of an inch. To anyone else, that is a strike. And to most people, it is. But now the batters can be picky, and they can be like, oh, well, I'm going to challenge it because I don't agree with this call. I don't know how to feel with it. I feel in the minors, it worked out well because not everyone challenged because they still weren't looking at their personal stats. I feel that most of the people in the majors care about their stats way more, so they're going to try and make sure that they don't strike out or anything like that for those reasons. So they're going to call ABS as much as they can and as often as they can. So this is something that, although it has good outcomes to expose the bad calls, has a downfall because now you're allowing batters and teams to be, well, I don't agree with this, and if they're right, again, within case of 0.1 or 0.2 of an inch, like, human eye can't see that, and you're going to have batters just wanting to get the call because they don't want to get rang up on a pitch that they didn't agree with. So it's good, but it has a lot of flaws that have to be worked out. I mean, again, like if it's an obvious called strike that should have been a ball, or obvious ball that should have been, obvious strike that should have been called a ball, rightfully so. Use the challenge, use the ABS. However, for these close calls that the human eye can't really see, it's tough. And ABS, I hope it doesn't replace real umpires. As much as as a fan, a player, you give all the umpires crap and everything. The umpires keep the flow of the game and keep us truthful. And I feel if ABS, took over the umpires, then baseball, as we know, would not become baseball, because then what's the sense of having a catcher who's good at framing? What's the sense of having a pitcher who's good at running a slider down and out of the zone to get someone to chase? Because now they know, well, if it's out of the zone, I can just call, a challenge if I get rang up on it and say, oh, no, it wasn't strike. So I feel it's going to change baseball as we know it. And it is good, but I feel it needs to be limited even more, because the umpires make baseball. As much as I, never got along with umpires as a player, and as a fan, think there was times where I never agreed with them, but they do make the game of baseball, and they make it what it is. So ABS versus umpires, I'm going to have to go in favor of the umpires.
So after watching this system play out the past couple months that it's been in use, I can agree with Tony. What's frustrating me about the ABS challenge right now is that when you look back and the ball is touching the strike zone by point something of an inch that your human eye cannot see, I'm under the impression that if the majority of the ball is outside of the zone, that pitch should be called a ball. If the ball is fractionally inside the strike zone, the ABS system is calling it a strike, when really the majority of the ball is outside of the strike zone. It should be called a ball. This made-up strike zone is a frame that's now different for every single individual player, so that same pitch could be a guaranteed ball for the very next batter, while looking at the challenge, it is showing a strike. So that's what's been a little bit frustrating, even though the specific point could be working in my team's favor. I think it's a tough one. It's a tough one. We also have an audio from Elisha, who's a San Francisco Giants fan, and his audio is referring to the recent situation of Raffy Devers trying to wave back a pinch hitter so that he wouldn't be subbed out during the game. Here is the video of that interaction.
He literally waved him away.
He did.
And Devers is trying to send Cox back to the dugout.
Not happy.
And he does not want any part of
He didn't want anybody touching him either. He's a little ticked.
And now here is Elisha's audio message, and after that I have some clarifying comments.
All right, so the Raffy Devers thing, I kind of typed this up yesterday, but basically this is a guy that's a local legend with the Red Sox. Started for the team in 2018 when they won the World Series. He knows what it's like to be a part of a winning team and a winning culture. He's been part of the Red Sox for I think I did the math. It was 12 years. He signed with them in 2013 as a 16-year-old. So he's been there forever. He's been with that World Series winning team. He's been part of playoff teams, and he's trying to get back, right? He's unceremoniously ousted from his spot at third base with the team without much of a conversation, and he's traded not too long after in the middle of the season. So he packs up his life, he moves across the country, he struggles adjusting to San Francisco. It's a new ballpark, it's a new city, complete opposite side of the country. Like I said, he's hitting 237 when he's a 274 hitter in Boston. That's like one stat line that I guess will kind of summarize most of his struggles. A lot of his doubles or flyouts would have been home runs in Fenway Park, but they aren't in Oracle because of that right field wall being so far back. With the Giants, though, he's got a big contract. I think it's the biggest that the Giants have ever had on the books. So he's being looked to lead the team just because of that contract, which he's never done. He hasn't been asked to do that in Boston. He talked at camp this year. He talked at various other times in the season, trying to right this ship, which is very, very off course. All amongst a pretty awful start to his season personally. He had a really, really rough first month before starting to get the hang of it in May. Now the team, we find ourselves 29 of 30, and we just can't get it figured out. And now he's being floated to the media as a trade chip less than a year after he was traded midseason. So this entire situation took place on Father's Day, which was his 1-year mark with the team. All this culminates in a 2-1 game in Miami. It's the third game of the series. They already lost the first 2 games, pretty lopsided. He's not having a good series himself, and he gets on base to start a rally in the top of the 9th, and he's being pinch run for. Now we know now that Devers has been dealing with a little hamstring soreness, and he told Tony Vitello that on the plane to Miami. And according to him, that's why he thought he was being taken out in pinch run for in the 9th. And that's why he was waving Jonah Cox and rookie manager Tony Vitello off so the way that he was. Regardless, it comes down to Devers being a competitor. I think that's where the emotions came from. He wants to do well. He's been on a team that has done well, and he's had great numbers with those teams. He wants to be in there, getting the clutch RBIs, being on base, scoring the game-winning run or game-tying run in this situation, and winning baseball games. And he doesn't want to come out in these kind of spots here that he found himself in. I see this more as a culmination of the frustrations of the clubhouse, more than him showing up as manager, showing up as teammates. I see this as a guy who's sick of the losing culture that the Giants have kind of stumbled into, and he wants to brute force, Kool-Aid man his way through it with this team. I mean, we've seen San Francisco Devers take a personal investment in the team, coming out of his shell and stepping into more and more of that leadership role that he doesn't have much experience in. And I think this is a situation in which his competitive side and his frustrations with the team, with its trajectory, kind of became a spectacle in this moment for the media and for a disappointed fan base in San Francisco, and a begrudged fan base in Boston to latch onto. Is it a stupid thing to do? Yeah, I think that Raffy could have handled this a lot better, a lot differently. We all know how baseball works. Once a pinch runner is put into the game, you can't just go back to the umpires and say LOL JK and have it. So once this move is announced, it can't be undone. Should this have been handled better? Yes. But I understand why it happened. And the whole Devers the Diva train is not one that I'm riding. It's not. I'm not on that train, and I'm not going to be on that train unless something more glaring happens where he comes out and he does something even more stupid. But he's come out, he's talked to the media, he's said he's apologized and talked to Tony Vitello for all this going down. I don't know if he talked to the team yet, but that's my 2 cents, and I think that everybody that is calling out Raffy in this situation is pretty, I don't know, pretty ignorant to the state of the Giants in general, and ignorant to the fact that, you know, these players have emotions that are human, and it doesn't matter how much money you're making, you're still going to have those human emotions and human reactions to not doing well at work, which is ultimately what happened here. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Alright, just to clarify some things here. This is the Red Sox and Raffy Devers history that Elisha is referring to. Elisha was right. Devers was 16 in 2013 when he signed with the Red Sox as a free agent. He made his major league debut with the team in 2017 and was part of the 2018 World Series winning team. Devers was signed to an 11-year, $330 million contract in 2023, but after only one full season with the contract in effect, he was then traded to the San Francisco Giants in June of 2025. In 2025, the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman, who is another third baseman, and Devers didn't want to move from third base to allow Bregman a spot. He then agreed to being the designated hitter. Then, our first baseman Tristan Casas then suffered a season-ending injury, and Devers was asked to go play first base, which at this point you've got conflicting views from Red Sox fans about whether Devers was in the right or not, and it's where the waters get a little murky and probably where the Devers being a diva thing first started. On one hand, you've got people saying, oh, he's not a team player, he's being paid all this money, and he's not doing what the team asks of him. He's being very selfish. There's that opinion of it. And then the second opinion is, well, you paid him all this money to play this one spot, and then you brought on somebody else to play the same spot, and so you moved him. And then once you moved him, you asked him to move again. So it's a little bit frustrating on his end of things when he's not actually getting to play the spot that he's being paid to play. Does that make sense? Again, he's then traded to San Francisco in June of 2025, and depending on what side of the fence you're on, this was either heartbreaking for Red Sox fans, or at this point, we were kind of over his attitude and want him out. Now, regarding the hitting average Elisha mentioned, because we haven't gone over what certain statistics mean yet. A 237 hitting average now in San Francisco compared to a 274 hitting average in Boston. The total number of hits divided by their total number of at-bats is their hitting average. So it is a decimal point even though it's referred to as a whole number. A really good batting average is around 300, so Devers was batting better in Boston with his 274 than he currently is in San Fran with his 237. And a really great batting average, an incredible batting average, is around 400. And just as a fun fact, Ted Williams was the last player to hit this stat in 1941 when he hit a 406 average. Now, if the Giants were to trade Raffy as of right now, which is another thing Elisha referred to, there's some trade rumors going on to the media. Giants are trying to see where the Giants are looking at some offers for him. Devers is still owed $211 million, so any trade that the Giants take would require the team to eat a significant portion of the contract or to take other bad deals due to his poor production this season. And the two other people that Elisha mentioned are Tony Vitello, which is the San Francisco general manager, and Jonah Cox, who is an outfielder for San Francisco. And those are our two audio messages. Thank you for checking the chat. Alright, as for some team updates, here's where we currently stand within the two leagues of baseball, the American League and the National League. There are 3 different divisions in each league, East, Central, and West. There's not really a point to these divisions except for scheduling purposes or regional rivalries and traveling, and it also helps to determine who makes it into the postseason. These leagues break down the 30 teams into smaller categories if it helps your brain organize them all in that way, but no one's really going to come quiz you on what teams are in which division. At least they shouldn't. If they do, then they're just being an asshole. But if you don't care to remember these leagues, it's not an aspect that's going to affect your enjoyment of the game. All of these stats are as of 11 a.m. on June 24th. In the AL East, we have the Yankees leading 47-31. Tampa's at 43-33. Toronto is 39-40. Baltimore 38-43. And Boston's at 32-45. In the AL Central, we have the White Sox at 41-37. Cleveland 41-39. Minnesota 38-43. Detroit 34-45. And Kansas 34-46. In the AL West, we have Seattle at 41-39, the Athletics at 38-41, The Rangers at 38 and 41, Houston at 38 and 43, Los Angeles at 33 and 48. In the National League East, we have Atlanta at 48 and 30, the Phillies at 43-36, Miami 41-39, Washington 41-39, and the Mets at 34-44. In the NL Central, we have Milwaukee at 48-29, St. Louis at 42-35, Chicago 41-37, Pittsburgh at 39-40, and Cincinnati at 37-41. In the NL West, we have the Dodgers at 51-29. Absolutely no one is surprised. We have San Diego at 41-37, Arizona at 40-39, San Fran at 32-46, and Colorado at 31-49. As for the wild card standings, the top 2 teams in each league will get automatic buys into the divisional series for the World Series, the big tournament competition at the end of the season. So right now, that would be the Yankees and the White Sox for the American League, and the Dodgers and Milwaukee for the National League. And then the following 4 teams in each league then play the best of 3 wild card series. So for the American League, as of right now, that's Seattle, Blue Jays, Cleveland, and Tampa Bay. And for the National League, that's Atlanta, the Cardinals, Philly, and Chicago. And this is why 162 games are so important and why teams are still fighting for the wild card spot, even if right now they seem so far behind. The trade deadline is also coming up, August 3rd, so teams can sell or buy players in order to help their team gain better odds of making it into the wild card series. There is also the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game coming up. So the Home Run Derby is the day before the All-Star Game, so it's July 13th, and it's a skills competition where 8 players compete in a bracket-style tournament. It's streaming live on Netflix this year, and the prize pool is around $2.5 million, with $1 million going to the winner. The players are chosen based off of their season home run totals. So the top 8 players with the most home runs are the people playing in this tournament. They're given 5 minutes to hit as many home runs as possible, and it occurs like a batting practice. So there's a coach that's pitching a bit more slower than in a regular game, and the batter remains in the batting box. They don't run around the bases. And they have 5 minutes to see how many they can hit. And then the next day, the All-Star Game is July 14th, and here is the current potential roster for each team. However, you can still vote, so go vote and see if you can get your favorite player on the team. I'll link the website in the description. Alright, the latest All-Star ballot update. On the American League, we have Trout from the Angels in left field, Buxton from the Twins in center, Judge from the Yankees in right field. We have Caminero from Tampa Bay on third base, Witt Jr. from Kansas City at shortstop, Clement from Toronto Blue Jays at second, and Guerrero Jr. from the Blue Jays at first. We have Langeliers from the Athletics as a catcher, and Alvarez from Houston as DH. For the National League, we have Marsh from the Phillies in left field, Pages from the Dodgers in center, Acuna Jr. from the Athletics in right. We have Muncy from the Dodgers at third, Abrams from the Washington Nationals at shortstop, Albies from the Athletics at second, and Freeman from the Dodgers at first. We have Baldwin from the Athletics as catcher, and Shohei Ohtani from the LA Dodgers as designated hitter. Unfortunately for me, no Boston Red Sox. That's about it for now as a catch-up. Reminder, if you'd like to be part of the Check the Chat segment, feel free to send me audio messages or DMs or contact me in any way. Go check out the TikTok because I have been making some videos about my trips to Fenway this season over there. But as for now, you can consider this class dismissed. Welcome to the extra credit portion of the episode. Thanks for listening to this episode, and here are some other podcasts or resources if you decided Subject Baseball isn't really for you. If you're looking for Red Sox media specifically, besides the tens of TV shows and movies out there, the Section 10 podcast talks statistics, and they post an episode after each series. You can listen to anywhere you get your podcasts, but I think it's funnier to watch these guys on YouTube. The NESN reporters do a podcast called 310 to Left, and there's also the Fenway Rundown. 310 is found on the NESN YouTube channel, but you can also listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Fenway Rundown can be found on the Mass Live YouTube or anywhere you listen to your podcasts. For more casual sports information, check out Katie Nolan. She has a SiriusXM podcast and a YouTube channel where she posts her shorter videos. While she's not sports specifically, and she's all things Philly, Kylie Kelsey's podcast Not Gonna Lie shines the light on women in sports if you're looking for some female empowerment. Baseball Explained is a channel on YouTube with shorter explanation videos on a variety of baseball topics. Baseball is Dead, Foul Territory, and Baseball Today are the most popular podcasts when you search baseball on Spotify. There's also Mookie Betts' podcast called On Base with Mookie Betts. Feel free to share other baseball or sports podcasts down in the comments for our new fan friends. And thanks again for listening to Subject Baseball.